Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today we've got an episode of Loadout, the series where you guys, the viewers, get to pick a gun and customization for me to use. The way you do this is you leave a comment down below letting me know what kind of weapon and accessories you'd like me to run with, and I will pick one of the top rated comments for the next episode. Today's top comment comes from Ravenwood, the World War I Rifleman Loadout. Primary is the M40A5 sniper with no attachments. Secondary is the M1911, a trench knife. Gadget 1 is the SUAV. Your trusty killer pigeon will fly by your side. Use him to gather information on your opponents or attack them with his sharp claws. Gadget 2 is C4. Use this to make foxholes in the soft ground to provide yourself with cover when making the big push. And then we'll be using the offensive perk. As your commanding officer who sits safely behind friendly lines while drinking a cup of tea, your orders are to go up and over and capture the enemy strongholds, leading the charge with your trusty rifle. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll be fine and back before Christmas. Lead your team in a game of hardcore rush to reflect the harsh strategies of trench warfare and attempt to push back the opposition. I've had plenty of fun games using this loadout, and I hope you do too. Good luck. Now, unfortunately, I was unable to find any populated rush hardcore servers, so I did do some rush games on normal mode, which unfortunately means that the M40A5 will not one-shot body shot someone unless they're already hurt considerably. So instead of absolutely wrecking tons of people, I generally speaking did get wrecked, although oddly enough I was at the top of my team most of the games I played, which either says something good about me or something really bad about the rest of my team. Probably a little bit of both here in that particular equation. Now, despite the hardcore element of this loadout, I did try and stay true to the aggressive nature and constantly push the objective. I got multiple MCOM arms, lots of points for that kind of stuff. I did a few rounds on defending, and then I played a little bit of TDM just to get some more run-around aggressive action. Some of it was really good and really fun. Other times it was difficult, especially on the 64-man rush games where everybody's using some sort of like AEK or high-level assault rifle. I didn't really stand much of a chance in close to medium range combat. Even long range combat, I mean, iron sights are not going to do any benefits at the longer ranges, so it's very hard to zero in on your target and win against even the basic assault rifles. Now, it's really fun doing these thematic loadouts for the next Battlefield game. It is true though that World War I was primarily bolt action rifles. They had SMGs, semi-autos, machine guns, shotguns, all this other really cool, creative, interesting weaponry, but a lot of it was not the primary weapons used in the war. Most of it was bolt action guns. I mean, bolt actions, you know, they don't really jam. It's pretty hard to malfunction one of these rifles, and they hold up in the crazy climates that was trench warfare, mud and rain all day long. So, I mean, they had their benefits there, but the vision of Battlefield 1 that we're most likely going to be seeing is not really going to represent that much. Bolt action rifles are going to be reserved for the sniper classes, and pretty much everybody else is going to be running with something else. Even semi-auto rifles, you know, weren't as common as bolt action rifles in the First World War. But that's really okay. We're seeing DICE's video game vision of the war. I wouldn't want something too realistic, and if you do want something super realistic, you can always play Verdun and see how you like it. It's very trench warfare. It does have a very realistic feel to it, but it's not Battlefield. It's got a very different sense to it than I'm sure Battlefields or Battlefield 1 will have. And without question, I'm sure DICE is being very careful to still keep the main Battlefield formula intact, and they need a lot of different weapons to do that, to give you sort of that class customization variety, the aggressive nature of it, fully automatic weapons, that kind of stuff. That's pretty key to the Battlefield franchise, and the fact that they're able to do that in the World War I theme is still pretty cool. And I have no doubt that if you enjoy the general Battlefield style of game and the gameplay of it, then you'll probably feel right at home in Battlefield 1, even though they are making a lot of progression and updates to the overall game, as they do with every major iteration to the franchise. What's funny is that this is a difficult loadout to use in Battlefield 4 because everybody's got a huge variety of automatic and very powerful close quarter weapons where the bolt actions are actually not designed to be used at this range, but it'll probably be the exact same effect in Battlefield 1, ironically. Even though in reality most people had bolt-action rifles in World War I, Battlefield 1 will not exactly represent a realistic vision of that combat, so you're going to be running into people with machine guns, shotguns, SMGs, DMR style weapons, semi-auto rifles, and the bolt action rifles, based on what the recent website description is, that they're going to have very specific engagement distances, so they might actually not be that effective at extreme close quarter ranges. So I imagine what you're seeing right now and how effective this setup actually is in Battlefield 4 is going to be pretty similar to how effective another recon class or a sniper setup would be in the exact same situation in Battlefield 1. Granted, there's going to be more iron sights, but there will also be the option for magnified optics in BF1 as well. So I think for the most part, if you're running a sniper rifle in BF1, you have the option to get a magnified optic. And I really don't see why you wouldn't want to. I mean, if it's meant for a specific range that's medium to long range, magnified will almost always be preferable to iron sights. Something I am really looking forward to, though, is the fact that there's probably going to be a much bigger variety of iron sights in BF1, and people are going to be using them as opposed to just your favorite red dot sight. They did mention how there's going to be optic customization and stuff like that for weapons, but there's not going to be any red dot sights in the game, so it's either going to be glass or iron sights. And I definitely got a bit of work done with the M1911 in this. It always kind of amazes me that they designed a weapon platform so effective, so popular, that it just kind of stayed the way it was and never really went out of service, or rather the nostalgia factor of it kind of kept it around for a long period of time. You can go to a gun shop here in the States and pick up a 1911 no problem. It's pretty much guaranteed that they'll have one, and there's plenty of modernized ones and then old-fashioned ones as well. And it fires 45 ACP, which is still a very, very popular caliber in many weapons nowadays. So I really don't see the 1911 ever becoming obsolete for the most part. Anyway, this loadout was fun, but very hard to use on standard mode. I think it would be infinitely more effective on hardcore, where people aren't getting spotted and have that lower health count so that they're getting one-shotted by this regardless of where they get hit, whether it's a headshot or a body shot. The headshots are just very, very tricky to get with iron sights in this game. I'd say it's much easier with a magnified optic, but even in close range, people moving around, darting around left and right, it can be really, really tricky. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave your comments down below for next week's episode, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.